Alright people, this is going to be an unedited tutorial on how to set up your marble simulation in Blender. I'm going to cut to the chase. Fresh project, delete your light, your cube, and your camera. We need to add the wall in, so that's going to be a plane. Add mesh plane. Down here we're going to click on the options here. We're going to type in 1ft, which will convert it to meters to 1 foot. We need to rotate it up so that it's actually a wall, so I'm going to go RY90, enter. Then I need to scale it to be 5 foot by 2.5 feet, which is your build surface. So we're going to go scale in the X direction 5, scale in the Y direction 2.5. So this is now a 5 foot by 2.5 foot wall. Now you need to get your marble pieces in here. I'm going to go to my folders. I already downloaded some of these. I actually downloaded a whole folder of straight pieces. So I'm going to come in here, straight, and you're not going to just drag and drop them in. That's not going to work. What we have to do is use the import. So go File, Import STL Experimental. Go to your downloads, find that folder. I'm going to search for it straight. I'm going to go in here. I'm actually going to import all of these, so I'm going to select the top, hold Shift, select the bottom. Very important, the scale should be 0.001 because these were exported in millimeters. You need to put them back down into meters. I know it's in feet, but it all works out in the end. Import those STLs, and there we have them. Now, from here on out, we're going to try to work on the normal axes. So I'm going to click on X here, and now I'm normal to my plane so that when I move the pieces, they don't come away from the wall. They need to stay in this position up against the wall. So I'm just going to go through, I'm going to select these pieces and G to move them over, G, G, G. I'm going to do that for all of them. And you see some of these that I imported were too small. They were exported in the wrong unit type. So I'm just going to delete those for now. Those are going to be fixed on Classroom. So I'm going to just select them and hit delete on those that are broken. All right. Now the way that I want you to think about this is that this is going to be like a palette of different track pieces, right? So we're not actually going to use these track pieces. We are going to copy them. We're going to duplicate them so that we can use them whenever we want, so that we kind of have a palette of pieces over here. Whatever piece we need, we can select, we can copy, paste it, and we're good to go. But before we do that, we should get these pieces totally set up and ready to go so that when we duplicate them, we have less work to do. So what am I talking about? Well, first of all, select it. We need to apply a material. So I'm going to go down here to Material. I don't have any material, so I'm going to hit a new material. It'll lag out for a second. And then you should change this to your track color. I'm going to pretend I have blue track. Great. And now I have that material. I'm going to click on it, and it's assigned. Why isn't it blue? Well, we need to go up here and select Viewport Shading, and that will apply all of our material settings. So I'm going to click on each one of these individually, and I am going to apply that material to all of them. Now, the second thing we need to do is add the physics to it so that the marble can interact with it. I'm going to select, I'm going to go to the physics panel here, rigid body, and set it to passive rigid body. We're just going to do that for all of them. Rigid body, passive, rigid body, passive. Great. Now we do need to add a passive rigid body to our wall too, so I'm going to do that now. Great. The last thing we need to do is we need to compensate for the tape. If I go to my Y position here, you can see that these pieces are actually right up against the wall. And they're not like that in real life. There's a piece of tape there. So what we're going to do is we are going to rotate out. I'm going to select my plane. I'm going to do GX negative 0.001. Enter. And it didn't look like it did much. But if we zoom in now, you can see that we have a gap here for our tape. And we don't actually have tape in our simulation. That's fine, but it is away from the wall so that all of our measurements here are making sense. Now when I'm working on modeling my track, I should work in the X direction so that everything is nice and flat. So for example, I'm going to start with a little bit of a track here. So I'm going to select the long piece, copy paste, G to move it, and then I'm going to take some short pieces, copy paste 4 times, paste, 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 paste. Oh, that's 5 times. And I'm going to just G them up. Click on them, G them. Great. And what I want to do is create like a little cascading thing here. So I'm going to do RX. Whenever you rotate, we're going to rotate in the X direction here. RX, G, RX, RX, and I'm going to just get everything rotated nicely and put into place with G. After a while, this is going to become a little bit more natural. We'll do something like that. Now, I know it doesn't really look like marble track from this direction, but if we rotate our camera out, you can see that this is a perfect marble track that we're looking for. So I'm going to go back to X. All right. Now we need to get our marble in. We'll go up to Add, Mesh, UV Sphere. It's huge. It's 1 meter. We don't want that. We want it to be a radius of 0.3125 inches. So IN, 0.3125 IN. Enter. G to move it up, and put it right there. I've got our marble. We probably don't like this material because it blends in with the wall, so I'm going to go over here, go to my materials, add a new one. Maybe I'll make this, you know, like orangey yellow. Great. Last thing we need to do is add physics to the marble itself. So we're going to go physics. Rigid body, we're going to leave it active. That means that it can actually roll around and be affected by gravity, whereas passive is locked into place. We want active. Mass is 0.003. Shape, we're actually going to change to sphere. And now if we want to play this, we can hit the space bar or we can hit the play button. And fantastic, it went right through. Why did it go right through? Let's check the side. And it's because it's kind of inside of the plane here, so I'm going to G it. I'm going to put it right about there so that it's not inside the plane and it's above. Let's see if that helped anything. Play. And now we get a nice simulation of our marble. Not the best track ever, but that's what we have. Now, you're going to use this method to simulate your entire build surface on the wall from top to bottom. Your goal is to use as much surface area as possible. You know, don't just use one tiny track from the bottom to the top with a bunch of empty spaces. We want to do a lot of splits using either the funnel or the teeter-totter or any other pieces that split. We want to use a variety of pieces. We want to use swoops, switchbacks, stairs, straight pieces, and all of our special and super special pieces. So that when this goes on the wall, it's something that's going to fill a lot of space, and there's going to be a lot of different paths for the marbles to go down. Some other small things that you might find useful is down here the timeline. This number means how many frames there are. So if I hit play, you can see that my marble will go down the simulation, and it will fall, and it will just continue, right? What you could do is find where it ends. And I'm going to actually pause. Something like 110, and I can go to the end here, set it to 110. And now it's going to loop once it hits 110. 110 is the end of the simulation, and it will restart. And as your track gets longer and longer, you could do farther and farther end. You know, if you're looking for teeter-totters that switch back and forth, and you need to test that, well, we could select our marble here, duplicate it, and we could create more than one marble. And it didn't like that. Why? probably because it landed right on top of the other one. So what we could do is we could go G and put it in front like this or something. So that's kind of fun to play around with. What you need to assume is that there is only going to be one entry point to your entire system. There's not going to be more than one entry point. For example, we could not put another guy over here like this, right? It's only going to enter from one of these sides. At least at the time of me recording this video it is. If I tell you otherwise, then it's otherwise. But that's what we're looking at. Fantastic. I'm going to end this recording now.